Loneliness changes one's view of the world and makes one even more lonely. Loneliness is a rather understandable, but also extremely understudied thing. On the one hand, everything is simple. A person who has no friends and regular social contacts is lonely. On the other hand, a person can feel lonely even when in the center of a noisy company. Loneliness has many different forms. It can be dreary and agonizing or comfortable and desirable. Some are bored being alone with themselves, others find in solitude the best interlocutor, explore the vast expanses of imagination, do creative work. The loneliness test. The 2023 study, based at the University of California, involved 66 people. Associate Professor of Psychology Eliza Beck developed a special program to find differences in people's worldview depending on their level of social integration. Students were asked to watch a slice of 14 videos totaling about an hour and a half. The materials contained key shots from sports events, excerpts from documentaries and emotional moments from everyday life of random people. Throughout the session, a magnetic resonance imaging machine recorded the viewer's brain activity, after which they were given questionnaires containing a range of questions. All of them were aimed at identifying the subject's level of loneliness. Based on the data, Eliza concluded that the brains of lonely people respond to visual stimuli in a unique way, in contrast to the more monotonous results in students who were categorized as not lonely. This leads one to speculate that lonely people in general perceive the world somewhat differently. However, it remains a mystery whether loneliness is the cause of this uniqueness or, conversely, a consequence of it. Loneliness and a unique view of the world. The study found that non-lonely people exhibited fairly uniform neural responses. Importantly, these were not the assumptions or words of the subjects themselves, but strict instrument readings. At the same time, the lonely students were very different from the opposite group as well as from each other. The results revealed or confirmed another interesting detail. All subjects indicated the number of friends on the questionnaire. But even with a few friends, the questionnaires of the lonely ones unambiguously indicated their loneliness, as did the unique MRI test scores. The implication is that anyone can be lonely, regardless of the breadth of social connections. For comparison, the example of a coffee shop that is always crowded, but sitting at a table alone, you remain lonely despite the presence of many other customers, is a good example. Standing in the center of a long traffic jam, you don't feel a sense of belonging with the people around you. You don't consider them companions or fellow travelers. Rather, you quietly hate them. Moving on, Eliza Beck concludes. A more unique view of the world means that a loner is usually surrounded by people who don't share their vision. It turns out to be a self-sustaining system where loneliness is reinforced in oneself. However, bearers of unique views can still unite in small interest groups or find friends similar to themselves. However, the modern world offers an all too simple and affordable solution: online. The internet allows you to dilute loneliness without leaving your comfort zone. Sometimes this phenomenon takes a radical form. We call young reclusive people who sit in front of the computer all day long the slang word hicka. Among other things, research shows a blunting of brain responses related to the reward system in lonely people. This means that a lonely person does not find sufficient value in aspects of daily life that give joy or fulfillment to their more normal peers. Another difference in attitudes, feelings and expectations emerges. Cause or effect. In 2020, Canada's McGill University published the results of a larger study involving 40,000 people. They were also divided into groups of lonely and not lonely, trying to establish a predisposition to different mental processes. It turned out that lonely people had stronger and better organized neural connections, and they also had an increased amount of tissue called gray matter. At the moment, there is no conclusive evidence that loneliness makes a person smarter, but there is some correlation with the level of creativity and primarily with imagination. The key question of the root cause remains unresolved. What appeared in the beginning, the egg or the chicken, loneliness or a special worldview? The answer will allow us to develop more effective methods of helping lonely people who experience discomfort or even suffering from a sense of separation. On the other hand, the same answer will bring us closer to understanding how we can develop imagination, self-sufficiency, and realize creative potential. However, building a more detailed and comprehensive picture requires years of research with the same people continuously involved, which is very difficult. Therefore, one has to wait for the database to be enriched by combining many individual experiences. Or you need to taste loneliness yourself and draw your own conclusions.